Downloading data. Welcome to Digital Digest. Let's start.
Welcome! It's been a while since my last Digital Digest video, but I have even more topics to talk about within the video game space. I'm going to talk about Tekken 8 controversy in regard to a stage, the Gentle Monster x Tekken 8 collab, love it, giving us that virtual idol Kazuya Mishima fantasy, and the Ghost of Yotei trailer, my thoughts on it, and the direction that Sucker Punch is taking with that series. First things first, we're going to get into the Tekken 8 stage controversy. Now, if you're following Tekken, and you're following Tekken 8 especially, Heihachi is a DLC character in this game. Obviously, my opinion is I dislike the fact that Heihachi is back. But that's not the point here. The point is that if you look at this Heihachi trailer, Hei has his own stage, and it's called the Genmaji Temple. Many consumers thought, well, he's in that stage in the gameplay trailer. That's gonna be free, or that's gonna come with the season pass, right? Unfortunately, no. And this brought a lot of controversy, with a lot of people pushing back on this decision. What I'm understanding is that you get Heihachi as a character, DLC, season pass, whatever, but you don't get the Genmaji Temple stage. It is a separate thing, it's not free, you have to pay for the stage. And that is ridiculous. I don't care how much the stage is, it's an out of touch, nonsensical decision made by Bandai Namco. And it got so bad that Katsuhira Harada, to be exact, came out on Twitter and cleared up this decision that was made. If anything, reading that statement from Harada, I still think this: they need to do better, and Harada needs to do better. Because all the people were saying he didn't need to make that apology, he had to. Harada is not the game director. The game director of Tekken 8 is Kohei Ikeda. He is just more so a producer. I think he has an exec producer role or something of that nature. But he's still the face of Tekken because obviously he's been making the decisions for the games since the third one. He's the face of the game in regard to the development of it, even if you don't agree, but that's the case. So of course, if you don't know about the corporate structure of Bandai Namco and the fact that in general, corporations have different factions within their teams to make decisions, you're not gonna know. There is a lack of transparency. Now, although he made his statement, it just confirmed to me that he could have been more active in his decision. He said that since a certain period of time, he has been a part of the development side of Tekken and the publisher side, which is of course to do with the financial elements, putting the game out there and promotion. But that statement confirmed to me that he had a bit of a leg, right? A bit of a role. Now, I'm not saying he has full control of certain elements, he's more on the development side, but that is still an element of control and influence, right? Admitting that passiveness, sure, but it's not good enough, Harada. He said he's going to improve and, I guess, be more in touch with the community in that regard, but if anything, that leaves a sour taste for a lot of people's mouths. I've already said my thoughts on what I think about microtransactions and all that in my last video, so if you're interested, be sure to click the link in the top right corner. There have been people saying this, oh, okay, well, the MTX, that's going to help the game, that's going to help development. I disagree with that statement. There is a lack of transparency from them and from the consumer, how they divest that money in terms of development. It doesn't confirm that, it just reinforces the fact that they are just cashing in and not considering the consumer. The consumer is not stupid. What are these practices? I would think that for a game that's been out for this long, having this legacy, they are being very out of touch. You gotta buy all these parts separately. I say it is not worth it. With what's going on now, I feel like companies are being complacent and going, oh, we can charge this. They don't have to charge these crazy prices, but because they can, they do it. And that's what's going on right now. I think those involved, especially Harada and the publisher division, need to step up and do better. And I think there also needs to be more transparency, especially from fighting game developers, about how the money is being used, because you can say that this will help the game, but how? Oh boy, crazy. Let's get into the Genta Monster x Tekken 8 collab. Now, I've heard of Genta Monster. They are a luxury South Korean brand. They sell sunglasses. They made these interesting shades, and that sold out like hotcakes. I thought, honestly, at first, yeah, it's a bit out of character. I just wanted to add a bit of silly lore to it. He has to be this vain. I mean, he's the head of G Corporation. He's got a stunt. He's got to show off his new shades, market them. I think when more information and more art came out, then seeing that pop up with the big Kazuya statue and the little Jin, Leo, Alistair Lars, etc. in there, as I saw more about the collaboration, I love it. I've always liked that element of the virtual idol kind of video game element meeting fashion. If you don't get it, you don't get it, but I love it personally when it's done in a way where it makes sense. It's just wacky, but I love it. I think Nina would have been great. I think Lee would have been great as a model. Yes, there is Jin Kazama and he's my fave, but I think Kazuya works because he basically is the face of Tekken. Been in the game since the first one. It's giving a very 2000s, late 90s look. Kind of reminds me of Jin, that kind of orange to yellow tint on the shades. Love a good gradient. Smart collab from Genta Monster. Just putting those worlds together. Thirdly, I'd like to talk about the Ghost of Yotei trailer. When I watched it, I was in love. I love the fact that we have a woman's perspective in regard to that. It's set decades further than Ghost of Tsushima because it's based around the Kamakura period. And this one's kind of around the Edo period. It takes place in 1603 in Hokkaido, Japan. And you can see that with the design of the stages, the design of the environments, very beautiful. It follows this warrior called Atsu, portrayed by Erika Ishii, navigating that time period. She adopts that persona of the ghost. The developers have stated that you get a bit more control over Atsu's narrative compared to Ghost of Tsushima. That's a very smart decision because compared to Ghost of Tsushima, where you had a bit of leg room with choices, I think this is a good way to go. I think that was maybe a criticism for some in regard to Ghost of Tsushima, but I love it. I love the use of the yellows and the cover art, her just in this pose surrounded by katanas. I mean, I love this. I love this very much. Very curious as to how she's going to play a role and what we're going to see narrative wise. Frustratingly, because Atsu is a woman, there have been these very misogynistic, racist, sexist comments about the actor. People saying that it's woke. I'm frustrated with the fact that that word has now been bastardized by these sexists, by these misogynists, because a woman is in a damn game. Ugh, it's pathetic. Because the word woke was never about whatever they're trying to make it out to be. It's a term referencing social justice, being aware of those things and the injustices. That has been bastardized by a lot of these men I've seen. The fact that a woman being a protagonist is an issue for you lot, like, please get the fuck out. I don't see an issue with that, but it's just something I wanted to mention because that has been brought up by these weirdos, these incels online, idiotic people. Back to the main point, I like this. I like Sucker Punch taking this approach and making Ghost a series rather than it just being on Jin Sakai. Pretty sure they're going to reference Jin in this game as well because you have to continue that legacy. Overall, I'd like to see more. That use of the yellow and the color composition is just beautiful. I love stuff like that. Next year it's coming out, so very curious about that. And that concludes the video. What are your thoughts on what's going on overall in the video game space? Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video. And that was Digital Digest. Out.